Happy Tuesday afternoon. How are you? I am tired. I am tired. It's just been a day. Today was the day that the kitties had their vet appointment, and Nala just laid down, and Simba has been walking and walking. So, but they both came out okay. They had their booster shots, and Nala's lost about 1 pound and 1.3 pounds, and he's lost a few ounces. So we're not too concerned about Nala because she's just starting to eat better here. But this morning they were both so good, and they just didn't go back to bed, and we had to leave here by 11:30, and we knew that it would be something getting them back into the crates and stuff, their carriers. Is he in here?
Yeah.
And it was. Mr. Jerry got Simba in his soft-sided carrier, and then we went to get Nala, and she ran underneath the bed because she saw the carriers, and so we're over by the bed trying to get her, and the next thing you know, Simba jumped up on the bed, and I thought you got him in a crate. And Jerry said, well, how did you get out? So went and got his carrier, and the back side was still unzipped. So, but as I picked up Nala to put her in the crate, and of course her back claws got me good. I immediately washed the area off my wrist and put some antibiotic cream on it. The majority of the redness is gone, but she was just freaking out. So we finally got him in his soft crate, and he wanted out so bad that he kept rolling the soft-sided crate. And then she came back in here, and we closed the door with the soft-sided carrier in here, and then Jerry was able to pick her up. And the only way we could get her into it was by holding the back of the nape back here on the neck, like a mama cat does when she carries her babies. And what that does is that makes them stretch as long as they can, and they can't put their feet out like this. And so we got her in there, and the whole time, it's only like a 5-minute drive, 10-minute drive at the most. Non-stop cries, non-stop cries. What you doing, Mr. Simba? Mr. Simba, what you doing? What you doing? Huh? So he's been out of sorts ever since we got home. So we got there, and we were 5 minutes late because it took us extra long to get them into their crates. And so when we got there, they called us right back, got them both up on the exam table, and we told the technician that, you know, they're just a little crazy. Simba, just a second. So I have pins up there, and as soon as we unzipped the carriers, he came right out, and Nala just laid there. She wasn't getting out or anything. So this guy has not slept at all, and he needs to lay down and sleep. So, but they were very quiet. The technician, as soon as she weighed him, and the vet came in and did the shots, then she had taken Simba back with the carrier, and to do the toenails. And then she says as soon as the toenails were done, he just walked right in his crate. So she just zipped up the crate. He's right beside the camera. And he sees something out the window. My eye. So, and then they gave him his booster shots and everything. The vet, he has that, what we call that nervous tick. So when he gets nervous, the mouth looks like he's got peanut butter in the roof of his mouth, and he will sit there and lick it. And so I got too much stuff on my table here for him, and he was not leaving things alone. So he went, and the vet had this, what he calls kitty crack. It is liquid treat stuff that you put down on the table, so they're licking that and eating that as he's being checked and stuff. Neither cat wanted it. He said the most cats will take it, and neither cat wanted it. They both turned their nose up. And then when he went over to Nala, Jerry was able to pull her out, and he was able to check her teeth and her mouth and everything, and give her booster shots. And then she walked, she let the gal pick her up and carry her in the back to clip her back toenails. So, but his nervous tick, that's just what it is. It's just when he gets nerved up, then his mouth will start like you got something stuck up there, because his teeth and everything look good. So they don't have to come back for another year, and then they'll have their next set of shots that they'll be due for, and then those will be good for 3 years. So, but they were quiet the whole time that we were there. All the way home they were quiet. We set them down on the floor, unzipped it, let them walk out on their own, and Nala just ran under our bed, and we thought, wow, we kind of half expected that. And Simba was kind of all over the place, and so I put out some more wet food for him because it was lunchtime, and eventually everybody came out and everything, and Nala was wanting to be loved on, and I petted her and stuff. And the vet did say she is part Siamese. He said the blue eyes especially, and her yowl, and some of that lighter taupey color in her is definitely Siamese. But he says she's a very beautiful, unique cat. So, but... So I finished up my lunch, and Mr. Jerry was going to run into town, and he has an auction that's coming up on Saturday. He has to go get some money for it, he said, and then he's going to run over to get milk at Mooville. We're on our last gallon, so he'll pick up 3 gallons of 2% milk, and then tomorrow I will use 1 to make my yogurt. I ran out yesterday, and he ran in town and he bought some Shabani Greek yogurt, and so I'll use that as the starter for it again. So, but yeah, let's see. Sunday when I got up and I sat down on the edge of the bed, I felt this warm rush that goes from my sciatic nerve down my leg. And I'm like, oh, I hope I just didn't pull that. And yeah, I mean, the whole leg was kind of, well, not the whole leg, but it felt weird, like it was part of the sciatica that had just pulled. Instead of being very painful, it was very hard to walk. And then the pain was in the back. So Sunday, I basically sat in the recliner and taken ibuprofen every 4 hours, and getting up every once in a while to move around. And then yesterday was a little better. I could at least walk. I could at least stand up. I haven't done that in years. And I just think it's a combination of all the canning that I did and standing on my feet. I like to be barefoot. And if I remember right, last year, I kept getting like sciatica problems canning. And once I put my walking shoes on and went into and wore those when I was canning, then I was okay. And I didn't do that this year. I was being stubborn is what I was being. So this is, he's back up on his perch. He has not been on his perch in so long, but today he is. This is stuck, sorry. But I want to show you, where are you, boy? So he's back there and she is behind the chair. You can barely see her. Yeah. So, but that is their safe havens. So, but so today is better. I haven't had to take any ibuprofen. I was concerned being in the car carrying a cat and all this and that, but so far so good. And I will take it easy. But and last night I pulled out that mosaic crochet, and I think I am pretty much to the roof, getting ready to do the roof of the beach houses or bath houses, whatever they're calling them. And so I did work on that for a little bit last night. Then this morning I went back to the Christmas cookie one, the study of the Christmas cookie one, and I was able to add that green in. That finally I got some green in it, and now I am doing, I can't even remember what he calls it, but it almost looks like 2 flowers. And all it is in one stitch you're doing double crochet 2 together and then chaining 3, and then in the same stitch you're doing 2 double crochet togethers. So it makes like a pretty little flower, and then you're skipping a couple of stitches and redoing it all over again. But it's getting bigger, so a round takes a little bit longer. But I'm not to the ruffle section yet. I am on, there are 4 lessons that he calls them. I think I'm on lesson 3. So, and I will probably, when I get done with this and edit it as it's uploading, then I'll go back and crochet on that. So the other day I did wind up some yarn for a sock. I haven't finished that DK sock. I thought I wanted to knit a sock on Saturday, and I got it going, and I'm telling you, I haven't apparently I haven't been knitting on US 1 1.5, I think it's 1.5 millimeters, 1.25. See, it's been so long because I've been using the US 3s. Then I was splitting the yarn. I was like, I felt like such a newbie on it. But I did get that going, so I do have that wound up out there. It's a Christmas colorway. It was from Freckled Whimsy from last year when she did her Christmas stuff. And I thought, well, I'll knit those up for myself. But I know myself enough that I like the colors. But once I start to see the repeat of the colors in it, I might sit there and go, ooh, this looks more like for our daughter. It can't be for our son because I started it on the medium and he would be the large size. But it can be for our son's wife. Or it can be, well, no, because both grandsons now are going to be 72. So it's either going to be for Layla or Lindsay or Bethany, but we'll see. And I got the cuff. No, I'm almost got the cuff done. Instead of 10 rounds, I'm doing 15. So I just got to get back in the habit of that. I just feel like I've lost that desire to knit socks, and the desire to crochet blankets is stronger. So I got them beside me, so if I decide I want to pick it up, just like the needle, oh my goodness, the Stitches of Love embroidery quilt thing, that is beside me too. I did start the next one, so that is beside me too, so I could also do that. But sometimes I just feel like everything is just out of whack, and you don't know, you don't know, I don't know what I want to do, and I feel like, you know, I'm all over the place. And it's kind of like that. I feel like sometimes in my weight loss journey, I don't know what to do. I do so well tracking, and I feel like I eat really well, and then when I pull my sciatica and I have to have 2 days worth of ibuprofen, for me, it retains the fluids, and I'm pushing the fluids, and it's not like I'm swelling or anything like that, but it, you know, it is known that wherever an injury is, all the extra fluids, they're shooting it towards that injury to try to heal it. And I know that if weight is gone, it'll be gone, but when you get on the scale and it shows that you're up, and you're just like, I'm not recording it, I'm not talking about it, I'm not doing anything, because, you know, I have not overate, and I'm eating a little less. And sometimes when you eat a little less, then your body thinks that it's starving, and then it's like, I'm not going to let go. And so it's just like a no-win situation. And so sometimes I feel like I just need to breathe and not focus on it. Kind of like with my knitting of the socks. I just need to let it go right now. If that's not what I want to do, then I shouldn't force myself to do it. So, yeah, the only good thing about everything is that I'm not running to food, and lunches have been some days, like yesterday, it was just, I got a cat hair on my mouth, sorry. Imagine that. It was yogurt. What did I have with it? Yogurt with a couple of chips or something, I think. For a snack, I had like a cheddar cheese stick of cheese, you know, snack cheese. Every once in a while, I will have a granola bar. But I'm not making myself eat if I'm not hungry, because that's what got me where I am. So, Teri Lynn, stop. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's because my brain is trying to think of what to say, and my mouth is just going blah, 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 blah. So it's like, But I'm doing the best I can. Yeah. And then we do take our blood, my hair. Then we do take our blood pressures, because I have been on blood pressure medicine, and years and years ago, when my blood pressure was high, and basically they put the fear of Jesus in me on it. And so every time that I was home, well, not in the doctor's office, because we didn't have a blood pressure cuff then. We had to go when the Kmart was still around, and they had a blood pressure cuff down there. You could just set and stick your arm in it, and that's what I took it by, because they regulated that one, the doctor's office would accept that. So, you know, once or twice a week, we'd have to run into Kmart to do my blood pressure, and it would be good, and then you go to the doctor's office and then it's high. And eventually they said I had the white coat syndrome, even though they don't wear white coats, but it just, the fear or whatever just built up in me. And I would say, it's because you guys scared the living bejesus out of me, because you made it seem like, you know, it was the worst thing. And when I say high, it was like 150 over 90. It wasn't like 200 or something like that. And so that fear's always been there. And this last year, they doubled my medication because what I was on was not keeping it where they would like it, because they've lowered the standards. And so they want it, I think, below 140 over 80. It might even be lower than that now, but they keep lowering everything. So when I had lost 63 pounds, they were able to cut everything down because my blood pressure was really, really good. But when I put that additional, you know, 20, 25 pounds back on, then the blood pressure crept up, and they've told me mine is weight induced. You think that'd be enough for me to lose this weight? But if everything was that simple, it'd be poof, like that. So this last year, my doctor, before she retired, had said to me, because it's always been borderline, where they take it when I'm first there. They know that when I get there, they have to wait at least 5 minutes, you know, the nurse and everything. Then she'll take the blood pressure. And what was happening, it would be borderline high. The bottom number would be okay. It's the top number. It might be 140 or 142 or something like that. And so then the doctor would take it again before I left. And it always was down. So she asked me about, you know, well, my blood pressure. And I said, well, I'm going to sit here and tell you, no, I don't want any more meds, but what would you suggest? And she said, well, I would suggest that because you're on the lowest dose, we would double it. And I take it at nighttime, so if there's any side effects, I don't feel them. So that's what we did. And then I had to take the blood pressure. She suggested once a week. Well, Jerry went and bought a really good blood pressure cuff that was what they recommended for seniors and all that stuff, because he should be taking his too. And so I had just told him, I said, don't tell me when you're going to do it. Just come out and say, here, we're going to do this, you know, because I'm the type that would, you know, if he takes it, you know, first thing in the morning, I sat there and I'll go, oh my gosh, I've got coffee in me, caffeine. You know, there's that excuse. Or he would come out like one time after 4 o'clock, I'm going, what are you doing? That's too late. We can't do that, you know. But I needed him to do that to alleviate that anxiety in me over it. And when we first took it, it was not in the 140s. It was always like 135 over 84, something like that. And then the more the medicine was in me, it never really mattered what time of day or night he just popped in to say, we're going to do this. It started averaging out from in the 120s over 70s, and which was really good. And then that was when the doctor, we could do a med recheck, televisit on the phone. And so I would give her, you know, every month, you know, for 4 weeks or however much we took it, all the blood pressures. And she was really pleased with that this last time. And we quit taking them. Last year we quit taking them towards Christmas time. And this year Jerry just started taking his again. And I could feel that anxiety. I don't know if it's anxiety, but the fear that I haven't lost weight. My blood pressure is going to be sky high. When I see her in September, she's going to want to increase. You know, my blood work is going to be awful. You know, it's all that stuff that comes back. And this morning I was sitting next to him, and he went to take his blood pressure. And it was after I had breakfast and stuff. And I was sitting next to him because both cats were out on the floor playing, and we were watching them. And he took his, and his was up a little bit. It was like 121 over, I don't know, 70, something like that. But he had just been playing with the cats, and he'd been up and down on the floor trying to find toys underneath furniture. And when he sat down, he was like, like that. Because his has been running like 116, 119 over 65 or 70. And I says, well, just get it over with. If it's up, it's up. So I stuck my arm out, and he did it, and I kept looking at the cats, and I wasn't going to look at the monitor. And I always feel like it squeezes, you know, really hard on my wrist or my arm, but I've got bigger arms here, and he does. This came with a bigger cuff for certain arm sizes, and it was in my arm range. And it's the type that has a curve to it, so it kind of opens up, and then you have the extra, that flap that goes around, and then you just push a button. And I'm pleased to say it was really good. It was 127 over 79. I am happy with that. It was just like that, was just like that. You know. And then when we had to get around to get the cats, because, you know, Simba was up on the couch, and then Nala came out in the sunroom. She doesn't come out very often, and she came out and she laid in front of the door, and at one time then she got up and left, and then Simba got down and laid in front of the door because they can look outside, and then he left, and then he came back in, and he jumped back up on the couch, and then Jerry came out. I was sitting on the couch, and then Nyla came in, and then, you know, she was walking around and stuff. And because we're noticing with her, she will, when she's up, she wants us to follow her in here or in the next room or the bedroom or bathroom, because then she knows she can get pets and loves. We're trying to get her comfortable in the kitchen. That's where their food is. And we would love it if she'd get comfortable out in the sunroom. Well, today she went out in the sunroom again, and then she went in the cat tower box, and that's where he's been sleeping. So she was, I'm sure she could smell his smells. And but her yowl is not as loud and panicked of a yowl. It's more of a cat, you know, yowl for a Siamese. So I told Jerry when we got home, I says, a good thing you took our blood pressures before. Because when we got there, they are saying to us they had no record of them having shots. And I said, the shelter said they had their shots. We're just here for the boosters. And we did not bring the paperwork. We meant to, but, you know, as wild as everything was this morning. And I said, when I called and made the appointment, I was on the phone a good 20 minutes, and I read her everything that the shelter had tested them for and the shots that they had gotten and everything. Well, they didn't have anything, so they were going to call the shelter, but they came back. I said, because my fear is you're going to double do them if they don't need it. And she said no, she said it would not make them sick or anything like that. Well, Jerry says, well, then it'd be the cost. If I don't need to have to pay the cost to get these shots done and then come back in 3 months. So anyways, they came back and they just, on the paperwork, it was the booster shots and all that stuff. So, but he's up there, he's washing finally. I think he will settle down because I'm in here. But right where she got me, still a little tender, but it's not as red as, well, it's not red really, just scratch marks, but by morning it will be okay. So another poopy air quality day. It's just like we're in a bubble right now. In the winter months, you don't have your windows open because it's so blooming cold here in Michigan. And then you look forward to the days when spring and summer come and you can have your windows open to air out the house. And now we can't open the windows. We could, but when we are out in it, it affects our voices. We both can, especially Mr. Jerry. And right now it's like 130, 135, something like that. And if you look out for the next, you know, Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to be right up there, the same amount. So we just stay inside. I mean, he goes out into the breezeway or garage, but that's all shut up. And it's not like you can't be out in it. It's just that when you start to notice it, you know, then you need to go in. But we're supposed to get back up into the high 90s again, starting Thursday through the weekend, with the humidity going to be very muggy. So yeah, it's just like being in a bubble, isn't it? Anyways, it feels like that. So I told Mr. Jerry that I want to come in here and I want to start sewing because I've not sewn while the cats are in here, and I want them to get used to the sound, but not today. They need to sleep and I'm keeping them awake as it is. They're not sleeping well, but they're also handling things way better than what we thought. And so he went into town. He'll go over to Mooville, get 3 gallons of milk. He's going to stop to an antique place over there. There's something that he saw last week. He's hoping is still there. And then he'll be back. And then tomorrow I will make my yogurt and go from there, because I really don't, you know, when you're retired, you really don't have big mega plans. So but yeah, I'm just so thankful that my back is way better. That's why I had him pick up Simba yesterday, because I was trying to nurse that because it was still hurting. The location where it was at had moved down, and there are therapists that will tell you that you want it to continue to move down and out, you know, instead of going up. And that's what it's done. So he just moved down there. But other than that, so there's not too much, except for at the end, I shot a quick, this morning, quick things on the cats. And I'll shoot a quick thing on the stitches that I'm working on right now. And other than that, I hope you don't mind that it's just this sit down chit chat talk, because that's all it is right now. And until we can go do something, and usually we just like to be home. I did make, I restocked our brown sugar. It was out and I should have recorded that, But that was the day of my sciatica, and Jerry wanted to make cookies, and he doesn't do the brown sugar. He would have if I would have just told him, but I just felt like I needed to stretch it a little. So how I do it is we use unrefined cane sugar, I think it is. I made a big batch, so I did 4 cups of sugar to 4 tablespoons of molasses, and you just put it in our KitchenAid, and you just let it blend until it becomes brown sugar. It just turns, they just meld together. It basically is the ratio of 1 to 1. So 1 cup of sugar to 1 tablespoon, or a half a cup to a half a tablespoon. If you want it a little bit darker, then add a little bit more molasses and not as much sugar. So, but I made that up, so that's done. And then we needed bread, and I didn't get that done, just like my yogurt, because of my back. And Jerry said that he could run into town yesterday and buy a loaf of bread. It's probably been over a year since he's bought a loaf of bread. And he didn't go in to do that. And so last night about 4, I just decided that, you know, my back was, you know, at the good stage of the medicine working, that I could do the bread. So I started the bread, and he decided to make lasagna out of that new cookbook, that Hope's cookbook. And I had to let the bread rise extra because he was going to use the oven at 3 1/4 for an hour, and the bread takes at 350 for 30 minutes. And it doesn't hurt it to rise extra. So it rose extra, just got nice and big and puffy and everything. So when the lasagna was, I think about 15 minutes, I went out and I punched the dough down and then formed it and put it into the loaf pan and covered it, and then set the timer for 45 minutes. So by that time supper would be done, and then I could stick it in the oven. So the bread is done for this week. The lasagna is very, very good. Highly, highly recommend it. He likes lasagna, and this is the first one that that I can remember hearing him say, I like this, I'll make it again. When I looked at it, the only thing that was going to cost me points was the lasagna noodles and the cheeses. It used ricotta cheese. I can't remember, there's a white cheese, Monterey cheese. I think that was the only 2 cheeses. Oh, and some Parmesan cheese. So those would have been what it cost me, but he made half of a recipe, so it was in what I call your brownie pan, you know, your 9x9, whatever, about this thick, and it was probably about this thick in it. And it called for tomato paste, tomato sauce, and what he did was he took my tomato soup that we canned last year, which is basically tomato sauce, and then the seasonings in it is what makes it taste like tomato soup. I think ours tastes better than tomato soup. The kind I used was out of the Ball Blue Book, and the tomato soup, and it used cloves in it. You put a spice bag together with cloves and some other stuff, and you let that simmer in the tomato sauce, and then you fish out the bag and get rid of it. And he really likes that. That's what we use a lot. And to make tomato soup, then you would just add cream of something or milk or mix it up. So he used that, and it gave it really good flavor. And He had 3 and I had 4 pieces. There's 2 pieces left, but they are 2" by, oh, I would say maybe a ½ tall. I mean, they're not very tall. So he has enough left over to make it again. So, but there's some in there for leftovers. So I wanted to let you know about that. That was a very good recipe. So, but anyways, this is getting really long, and sorry about that. But thanks for listening, and always coming back, and just listening and chit-chatting back, and crafting or doing whatever that you're doing, as I'm sitting here yik-yakking. Oh, yakety yak, don't talk back, that type of thing. But I appreciate you being here and everything, and for right now, this is what it will be, because we have really nothing coming up. So it's whatever I am working on or doing, and when the next time I decide to make something, I will take you along. And he made, that was the other thing, he made peanut butter chocolate chip cookies last night with his peanut butter that is the organic natural peanut butter. It is peanuts and salt. That's it. That's it. So he made up himself some of those. But anywho, thanks for listening, my friends, and thanks for stopping by, and hugs to you all. Be safe. May the good Lord shine brightly on you till we can meet again. Thanks, friends.